Coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area. It's time for Zig in the Zone with Ralph Zig Tyko.
Hey, how you doing, Paulie?
Very well, sir. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Well, I'm concerned with two things: your tennis elbow, as it
And
were.
we like to call it my jerker's joint. Sorry. It's
I think
affectionately
you
known as
told
my
us. I
jerker's
think you
joint.
told us an imaginary story. Um, and the other thing is serious. How's Zach doing today?
Zach is okay. We're just keeping an eye on Zach and everything else here. I'll throw the camera on me. Oh, look, I look like I'm a longshoreman or something. What's going on here?
Mhm.
Yeah, we're just keeping an eye on Zach and making sure he's healthy and making sure he's okay. He's got a lot of things going on, but he's doing well. And I'm here in the home studios in the Valley. Valley, we call it Valley One Studios because we're trying to get another one built here for the public. This is my private studio in the Valley, but it would be great to actually have some other studios here for the other individuals. So
Oh, great idea! Great
yeah,
idea.
and then
Let me
and
tell
then
you
you
what. Let me
go.
tell
Yes,
the audience what we do. Basically, we push on the doors of life, Mark Pull, and it's the best way to describe it. We're up against the unholy trinity, which is big business, government, and organized religion, and they combine.
I like to refer to it as organized crime. But go ahead.
Well, I
They're not
mean,
that organized.
you won't be the first one to do that. And, speaking of crime, Epstein is a horrible, depraved, deprived human being. And,
Speaking about keeping your pedophiles in a row, I mean your
right.
ducks in a
And
row.
Or hang them out to dry.
speaking of pedophiles, do you know that the Catholic Church has 8 times more of that a day going on?
Sure.
And nobody has these people accountable in any way. And I'm not saying Epstein should be exonerated, but these people should be horribly reprimanded, let's put it that way.
Right.
And so that's my bitch of the day. Let me get on to nice things. Paulie, we have a guest,
We
and that
do.
doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often. And this particular guest was my guest on an early podcast 12 years ago.
It's been a
And I
while.
knew her when we did podcasting together for FCC. Um,
The
speaking
other
of,
radio station.
Yeah,
yeah,
the other place.
The other white meat.
Joining us
yeah,
is Jen Eros. Jen.
Hello.
yeah.
Good to see you, Zig.
Hey, good to be seen. I'm, I'm
And
in my 80th year.
this
I'm
time
in
you
my
asked me
80th
on
year.
without the comments about the chastity belt, so I'm really excited to find out what today's topics could be.
Okay. Well, I don't know who needs the belt more, you or me. Um, in any event, Jen, catch you up a little bit. 12 years. How's life going?
How's life going? Well, I was really enjoying getting out there and hitting all the comedy scene for a while. And then I had a house guest that flooded the downstairs, and I was getting exhausted dealing with her life. And about 2018, I finally got out of my own radio show just to keep the home fires from not burning down the whole place. So,
Okay.
no, it's been interesting. New guy on the scene since 2018, also, and we love different things, and so we're sharing each other's worlds a lot. And he's all into the heavy metal scene, and we like to go play pool and just
Let me
stuff.
ask
It's
you
like
this.
after the kids have grown up, it's like you're trying to fill in that time with things that mean more to you. So,
Let me ask you this. What have you, two different people, two different lives, two different
yep,
memories,
yep.
all that shit. What is the thing about a new relationship that, in this one in particular, that is really cool, that introduces you to someone else's life? And what's cool that you're sharing?
First of all, that neither of us are who we would have chosen at the time that we first met. We've really grown to understand and be vulnerable with each other and choose love. You know, I'm wearing the hat that says love. I'm wearing the shirt that says I don't care. I'm somewhere in between most times. But, you know, no kings ever. Um, but the thing is, it really has opened my world in ways that, you know, just even when I was out doing the other stuff on my own, I knew I had support somewhere there for me in the other relationship I was in. He didn't always have to show up. This one shows up in different ways and has forced me to learn how to receive from somebody else in different ways. So, one thing we do have is the motorcycle that we share, and you know, I got to pick my own throne so he could drive me around. Uh, we'll go to Bike Week again in Arizona coming up. There's just some different things that we're experiencing together that otherwise I might not have. And he was also in radio in Phoenix, so we kind of united going, oh, hey, I know what that's about. And the rest of it's been just it's been revelation after revelation, different mysteries in each other and in ourselves and how we respond.
Well, those are the things that you've taken from him. What are some of the things that he's taken from you that may have even surprised him
Everything.
along the way?
Everything about me
So,
has surprised him. My first question to him was, what do you know about feminism? And I gave him like a 20-point tutorial to read. And he got back to me with, how much of this is important to you? And I said,
oh,
well, pretty much all of it. All of it. So if you don't even know the
how
language.
much? How much is keeping your penis?
And it kind of went from there. You know, there was a time I just
yeah.
said, go back to mama, you know, but he's
So
done a lot of
does he
personal work.
sleep with one eye open?
Does he sleep
Only
with
because
one?
I snore, but he's learned to be
Oh,
gentle about that.
okay. Well,
He had a choice. Either you're going to be close to me and listen to me snore, or you're going to be in the next room listening to me snore. Which is it?
uh, so which room did he take?
He's figured out how to just lay his hand on my back and calm me so it's not as prevalent. So it's really working for both of us.
Oh, oh, good. He doesn't have to pour water on your head just to give you a signal.
I was having some back issues, and one time I found him actually kind of push his knee into that space one night, and I almost just, yeah, he's alive today. I'll report that. But
Okay,
it was,
that's
yeah,
it's
don't get
always
on my
a
last
help.
nerve. Don't get on my last nerve. We have a ton of respect for each other at this point. It's well thought out. Paul has witnessed, but
Beautiful.
you know, we don't let certain things
Jen,
slide, but we definitely work towards each other.
Jen, tell me about your comedy career.
I don't have one. Last time I did a show, it was in front of a bunch of old people that just ate food, and the tryptophan kicked in before my hot flashes could let my brain work. So it just,
Oh,
it was
okay,
catastrophic. I took the pay as severance pay. You know, it was like, okay, thank you for your time. I might have not started out
uh,
so poorly had I mentioned that their place that, you know, one lady piped in. I was commenting about their landscape and their HOA, and she said, it's a retirement community. And I said, but
well, I'll tell you
be
this.
that as it may, I said, does it have to look so much like your final resting place? And it was all downhill from there. So,
I'll tell you when that time comes, a little advice from the old man here. You ready? If you have to go to a funeral,
mhm.
don't bring up the topic of natural selection.
No, I did mention to one person, at least if he had voted the way he did, he has the excuse of the brain cancer or the brain tumor. You know, his buddy that was
Right.
promoting it wasn't necessarily off the hook. So,
Well, it's good to get something you can hang your hat on, and we do that on Comfortably Zoned at least once a week.
yep.
Paulie, how you
Yo,
doing?
I'm hanging in there, my brother. I'm hanging in there. How about you?
Why don't you talk to Jen for a minute while I get a little Diet Pepsi in my throat?
Okay.
And
Oh, this is your ad, your
Diet
sponsor, your new
Pepsi
sponsor,
sponsor.
Diet Pepsi,
no,
from
no,
the makers
no.
of Geritol. It's Diet
If
Pepsi.
I didn't drink Diet Pepsi and I drank Pepsi instead, regular
Uh huh.
Pepsi, I'd
Right.
have diabetes by now. So, um,
I don't think
it,
that's the new flavor Pepsi, Diabetes Zero.
diabetes, right?
Brought to you by the same people that brought you, I don't know. What did they bring you? Leprosy. I don't know.
Brought to you by the Comfortably Zone Radio Network.
Oh, jeez. We're like an STD. You need to go to a doctor to get rid of us.
Right.
We grow on bread like mold. Or penicillin?
Call them the
Something like
Yeasty
that.
Boys.
The Yeasty Boys. Oh my gosh.
That's the name of my sourdough starter I just got.
Yeah, too much of the sourdough starter stuff during the
Hey,
pandemic.
Jen, I forgot to ask you one question.
Yeah.
What was your biggest joke that you ever told where you got, I can remember mine, and the response.
That I got a
And
great
one night,
response.
you went, it was great. And you thought you'd be a star after that response.
See, Ralphie boy.
Yeah, Ralphie boy. Hey, Ralphie boy.
Paul, I've never been that
Say it
delusional.
like my mother used to say it. Ralphie boy, the thing of joy.
Oh, I
Uh-huh.
love
Every
it.
time she say that, I said, Mom, I'm in fucking high school. This is great.
Ralphie boy.
Hey, Ralphie boy.
Ralphie boy
Yeah.
plays with his tinkers with his little you know what like a
So
toy.
to answer your question,
Norton,
there
get
was a
out.
moment. There was a moment I was doing an open mic actually, and somebody caught me at a coffee shop 3 months later going, "I love that joke. I loved that joke." And she was talking about the time I was talking about those trucks that have the balls swinging behind them. You know, how the blue ones are truth in advertising and, you know. Uh,
Right?
but there was a whole set that I had done based on those. And she was kind of like almost word for word repeating it back to me. And that was an honor to me because I was just starting out, figuring out what I was going to say, how I was going to say it, how to get out of my head and into the interactions with the audience. And it's been a long journey listening and learning and failing forward. But I think overall, it doesn't matter which joke, it matters what you're learning in that moment you're with those people. And so I've had some amazing audiences, I've had amazing failures, and it's getting to that core inside of me to figure out, am I going to keep doing this? And what did I do to sacrifice this time when I didn't have to be in my own way? So to me, it's just a big old journey. You know, as far as one particular joke, I can offend a lot of people depending where they're from. But I don't like to do roasts and I don't like to punch down. So I talk about personal stuff and then they kind of get on me about, you can't talk about that, but it happened. So you were talking about pedophiles earlier. Can I do one?
Can you do what? Do one.
You were talking about pedophiles earlier. She could do a joke about pedophiles. I was gonna say never. I was gonna say never punch down, folks. Never, unless it's a baby.
Unless it's a baby.
Then you gotta punch down.
Because they're below the
They're
horizon.
low.
The event horizon is,
yeah.
I got you.
There's one for.
That's just not right. See, I saw somebody doing some jokes like that. I'm going, I got to take his place.
I heard something like that too, and it was something like somebody. Oh, I know exactly who it was, and I remember the joke. And I was gonna say something, and it was Yeah, that reminded me of
Yeah.
that kind of joke.
Okay, so Ralphie, let me throw this one on you. The other day I was giving my uncle a hug. Next thing I know, he's nibbling on my earlobe. I'm like, you bastard, if Grandpa were alive today, he'd kick your ass for not using the whole damn tongue. What happened to family values? Sacramento doesn't want to hear that shit. They want to rip
Sacramento doesn't want to hear that. Yeah. Only because they're saying, okay, what's
like,
wrong?
No, shh,
No.
you can't say that stuff. No,
Oh, that's we only say that at the meetings on.
I guess. I didn't know. I mean,
Okay.
it's out there now.
Jeez.
But just being comfortable with the things that are really uncomfortable, I've given some words to people that needed them in the moment, like my Got Herpes song. My friend was pulled up at a stop with her daughter. Guy in the car next to him is saying, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" He's like hitting on both of them. She's like, "You got herpes?" He goes, "No." She goes, "You want some?" That's the title of my song. It helps. Sometimes you give them words that people go out there with and do your bidding.
Now, I noticed, and I'm going to be serious for a second.
Yeah.
When we started talking about your comedy career, you came alive. There's something in there that you enjoyed so much that you must hunger for on some level. Am I guessing?
I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. Part of it is because it was the most personal thing I reached out to do after everything else. I got into acting, I got into poetry slams, I got into activism, I got into singing for my supper. But when I got into comedy, there's nothing so raw as turning your own experiences into a shared group therapy session you might get paid for. And there's nothing that is different anyone else could say that clouds what your actual authentic experience has been. So it brought the integrity of my whole experience into a focus. And it's not palatable for everybody. I didn't even want to go through half this shit, right? But at least knowing how to put words to it can put some of it to bed too. It doesn't harm me when I can refocus my journey that way. And if I can help somebody else that hasn't, like I said, put words to it yet, in telling my story the way I do and trying to punch fun at these things and trying to elevate people, it just, that interaction is precious to me. So yeah, it's not that I crave an audience. I just really appreciated that opportunity to be able to shift my life in that way and have it in its own way without any churches behind it. It ministers to people in its own way. Just being honest, being authentic. So,
Jen, how were you educated? Where did you go to college?
my parents were teachers, so I was always corrected at home. I got to proofread a few things. Local schools. I was born in Stockton. By the time I was 6, I'm like, I'm out of here. Got to Manteca. My parents were teachers for over 35 years. We got to travel. We got to meet a lot of people internationally. I got to go to junior college up in Stockton. My daughter's there now. And after that, I got educated in doing massage therapy because I had to survive my divorce and make some money. But I've been around a lot of different circles now, and so it's been really wonderful for me.
Good, good. Paulie, take over.
Okay, now that you got me there. Let me see here. We both live in the valley. It's cold as shit here. How's it over there in Alameda?
60 degrees yesterday. Sun shined. I took a beautiful picture of dusk. How bad can it be? Beach mints.
How bad can it be?
We just have weird grayness.
Currently in San Francisco, it's 57 degrees with a lot of water hazards, a lot of beach hazards, a lot of stuff happening there.
Swells.
We're in the Central Valley right now. Current temperature where we're sitting is, hey, Google, what's the temperature outside?
The temperature in Northrop right now is 48 degrees.
48 degrees.
Whoa, whoa. Big
So there
difference.
you go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, You could drive for 50 miles and get any kind of weather you want.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Um,
that's for sure.
From
it's
the ocean to the
uh,
mountains. Yep.
but
Desert and.
sometimes you must drive for 50 miles to keep from getting the weather you have. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you take the good with the bad. But I migrated from New York via the Air Force in 1966 or 65,
Okay.
whatever it was.
So my dad was in
Um,
Berlin in the army around that time, 62 to 64.
oh, well, I got out. Uh, I got in 65. So we basically, your dad and I, experienced the military way of
Mm-hmm.
the times.
Of the times, yes.
And it was great to grow up as a baby boomer. What can I tell you? Um, had the best of all worlds. I'm a little bitter that Trump, more than a little bitter, that
Mm-hmm.
Trump has taken it upon himself to fuck up the United States of America
Top to bottom,
and
inside out.
spit on the Constitution and have not only enough Republicans to give him support, but the fucking Supreme Court. What were we thinking when we elected this guy? Has
I
anybody?
never had him as anybody that I wanted anywhere near anybody important in my life. So I never would have elevated him to this level. And as much as people might think that they're gaining out of this, they can't imagine how much everybody else is losing. I don't see that. But I grew up with a compassionate eye towards human beings, you know? It's.
Yeah. Well, your parents were teachers, and by nature of the beast, you would hope that they would be compassionate human beings.
We
Sounded
had
like
the
they were.
example in my life. You know, my dad brought in people that needed to be safe from their home environments. We had several different students over time that needed to be emancipated minors where they needed a safe place to live. They needed to be able to drive and have employment. But he looked after them. We didn't even know half the court things he stood up for somebody and stood in the gap for. He was a history teacher. He was an iconic father figure to those who didn't have that. My mom taught French and Spanish. We understood culture and language and travel, and understanding from another person's perspective was like, okay, bread and butter in my household. So to see all of these changes, I've got daughter American Revolution on one side of my family, and I'd be third generation immigrant on the other. So I feel like the complexity of all that comes to the fruition of who I am today.
Yeah.
And none of this makes sense that people are allowing this.
Well, it doesn't have to make sense, number one, and it makes sense to you, number two, and number three is you should get back into podcasting, if not comedy.
Thank you. Yeah. Jen
And
Eros has, when I had Friends with Jenna Fitz, that show that I was hosting at Mutiny Radio when they had that, I had so
right,
much fun bringing all the talents together that I met along the way and sharing the independent musicians and book authors and comedians and lifestyle people. It didn't matter. It was wonderful to have that. And I'm currently working on aspects of my life that would free up some time to do that. I actually do have a plan. So thank you for the invitation. I know
all
Michelle
right,
over there in Arizona is going, she's back. She's back. But the day will come. The day will come and I'll definitely have you on my show.
beautiful. That'll be great. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to it. Um, I want to talk about the New York baseball Giants a little bit.
Of course you do.
And of course, what else am I going to talk about?
You should
I
talk with
am
my
not
friend
as
Mercedes. She's in the stands all the time.
all right. All right. Um, anyway, I grew up in the late 40s, early 50s as a baseball fan. And I was very lucky. New York City has 3 teams in one city.
Mm-hmm.
Unheard of. Unheard of since we had a virtual plethora of baseball to talk about and to read about. There were 13 dailies in New York City. And the team that gets the most great memories of those times are far and away the Dodgers. Far and away.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees had great teams. They don't get the love that the Dodgers had. So I just want to talk about the New York Giants
Okay.
and try to throw them a little love.
Okay.
Okay? When I was a kid, my grandfather took me to all 3 stadiums in 1951, my first year. I was 4.5 years old,
Wow.
and he was teaching me the game. And the first stadium I went to was the Polo Grounds, home of the Giants. And this was before Willie Mays was called up. And after that, he took me to a game after Willie Mays was called up and explained how this affected everything. Lineups were changed, enthusiasm. Willie was something else. Okay. Um, just want to say it in those ways that he would. I look up at my grandfather after Willie made a great catch, and he looked the joy in his eyes. He was older than I am today.
Right.
Actually, he was younger than I am today, but I didn't want to say that because I may throw up thinking in those terms. I'm an old guy, and I always thought being an old guy would suck. It can suck if you let it, but if you nourish your memories like I'm doing right at this moment,
Yep.
you stay young forever. Because when I think of those days of myself, I'm 4.5. Okay? So let me get on with it. He took me to Yankee Stadium that same year. And he said, look in center field. Look out there. That's Joe DiMaggio. And you'll never see him play again. He was going to retire after that year. He made it into the World Series against the Giants, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
So he ingrained that in my look at him. Look, that's Joe DiMaggio, the greatest player you'll ever see in your life. He
Wow.
didn't know Willie would come along. And there's an argument. Who's better? Willie Mays, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Duke Snyder. It's really hard to say, except that Willie Mays was the greatest all-around ball player that ever lived. And let me tell you one more story about the Giants. In 1951, when they won that aforementioned World Series, when they were in that aforementioned World Series, they ended up losing. But before that, Don Mueller, the regular right fielder, got hurt sliding into third, hurt his ankle, couldn't play. They put a guy named Hank Thompson into right field.
Mm-hmm.
They had Willie playing center and Monty Irvin, our stand musial, if you will, playing left. Hank Thompson was a black man. It was the first time three blacks played in the same outfield ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the World Series. So that was an incredible memory that I have. And uh, when you're a fan of a team, it's the history that you look back upon.
Yeah.
Giants have a great history, and that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
All three players in the same outfield, all black. I'll give it to in 1951. It was the Brooklyn Dodgers playing in Ebbets Field. And again, my grandfather looked out in center field and pointed. He said, "See that building across the street? My sister, your Aunt Sonny, lives in that building on Bedford Park. And her building faced right into the stadium. And people will occasionally, back then, sit on the roof, look out the window, and watch the Dodgers play. And my aunts, Aunt Sonny and Aunt Bertha, Brooklynites, wanted me to be a Brooklyn Dodger fan. And they fought with their brother. He's going to be a Giant fan. And he
Mm-hmm.
was right. So that's some of my memories of the Giants and New York City baseball in the golden age. And it was great.
Yeah.
So, Paulie, do some
Which one of
business.
them did you?
I had that feeling. I had that sense.
It's time.
It's that
Uh,
time because
I'm not talking
you
about.
get to reset your mic. I get to do
Okay.
what I do, um,
All right.
and I'm gonna mute you. Work here. All right, here we go. You guys, please patronize our supporters and sponsors. Gives us peace of mind. It should give you some peace of mind. These guys are great. Again, we're all lawyered up here in the zone, so check this out. Whether it's criminal defense, estate planning, or civil litigation, the answer is the law offices of Andrew Doja. Call us today at 510-865-1600 or find us on the web at dojalaw.com.
For tenant and landlord disputes, there's no other than the law office of Jeff Canberra. Call now 1-510-865-7369 and don't forget to tell them Zig sent you.
And of course, it's that time where Zig says, Zig, that's your cue, buddy. Oh, Ziggy, if you can hear me, this is your time that you shout out Head Start, buddy. All right, I'm going to do it until you can hear me. The Head Start program, that's right. If you got some lightly used or new book, lightly loved, or new books, children's books, please wrap them up. Bring them down to your local Head Start program. And, you know, they can really use your help today. Why? Because the government programs are being cut down and shut down, and every penny helps. When it comes to a kid, it's kind of the old adage, you read a book to a kid, the kid reads a book to himself, and then before you know it, that kid's reading a book to another person. So again, reading is contagious. Please give the gift of literacy. Go to your local Head Start program and drop off those new books today. And we're back here live in the studio. I believe I'm gonna kill. Oh, that was nice. My little fuzzy dropped off my mic. That was nice. Aw, my little fuzzy. I am. So there we go. Now you reset your mic right when I was putting your mic on. That was pretty good. It was
Hello.
crunchy.
All
I
right.
heard. I heard you. But we're back here live in studio. I even did your Zig Says. So we are back here with Jen Eros.
Hello.
Hello. So what's
Never try to
happening
milk
with
a
you? So
mo-
you're not doing any. You don't have anything on your calendar. It sounds like
myself for
for
now.
comedy.
Um, no, actually, I'm having some different adventures, new friends coming into my life. Gonna be traveling down to Palm Springs in March. We're making some plans. I have a cousin at the San Diego Zoo that's gonna give us a tour when we're in the south end of the state. So, just want to see if we get to keep the pandas or if we have to send them back to China.
Send the pandas back to China.
Well, for goodwill.
No, there's plenty of places. We have plenty of refugees here, or refuge here
Okay, I'm not talking
for
about
the panda. They call them
Panda
Panda Express.
Express.
Yes. They make it so convenient. You can bring your panda in the car, drive through the drive-through, give them your panda, and drive
Not with
away.
food.
Yeah. Oh wait, what? Food? Is there food
Are you
involved?
sure? Are you sure that's the chicken?
Yeah, that's the chicken.
Everything
Yeah,
tastes like chicken. What?
that's a tough one. Yeah, no. So okay, there you go. So spending time with family and where it counts, not necessarily booking shows or doing anything like that, because you said you've kind of been inactive since the old ladies.
Well, again, it's been a matter of opportunity versus what am I seeking right now. And I've been doing a lot with singing. I've been doing a lot with the book group that I just got back from today. I'm expanding in some different areas because I think it's important that if you're going to do comedy in front of people, you're up on current events, you know what's going on around you, and you dive into the other things that help form your opinions. And some people just go from the same space they started at, and I like to expand on that so I can deliver better. So
Okay.
it's not that
Hey,
I need to
Jen,
constantly be doing it, but
let me ask you this, Jen. Is
yeah.
there a time during the day when you deliberately write jokes or try to write jokes?
I find more of it comes from interactions and it's in the moment. The writing of the joke to solidify it on paper doesn't always translate the same. Because I remember when I was at that stage, I was writing out every detail of a joke, and then I started just going bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, which things tie into each other, and try to figure out my structure that way. Because then I learned to be more fluid in the interactions. As people would lean this direction, I'd have like 5 different directions I could take it. Or I would know, stay away from that topic. I don't have it fleshed out enough. That kind of
Right.
thing. So
Put it
it's,
on the back
for me, I'm
burner.
a little more stream of consciousness rather than, here, let me write that down. But I do find uh, just great conversations with man on the street type stuff. Going over here to his Power Mart, I like talking to one of the guys behind the counter because it just flowed. It was just funny. And just keeping sharp with that, I think, is helpful. Listening to what other people are saying and figuring out how to work with that information in the moment is keeping me on my toes. So that's a practice I do.
Well, you know what's really nice, Jen? You've taken a lot of time in avoiding a time clock.
The clock is my guide, not my God. So that is one thing I will even tell my massage clients. If they need a little bit more, they need a little bit to get out the door, I adjust to what's going on in real time instead of, oh, wow, the rooster just crowed. I got to get up. No, and I think it's helped me to flow in and out of a lot of different situations that I'm not just a slave to what the clock is saying, but other than the times like 3 times during the week, I have like one thing written that I have to do, and then massage clients fill in some spaces, and time with friends that needed me to take them to the emergency room. I can fit that in, that kind of stuff. So, I like my life. I like the arrangement of it. I saw my parents as teachers getting up doing the grind, and each of them having over 150 of other people's kids to deal with. You know, I grew up at the time it was very common to be a latchkey kid, and here I am a teacher's kid, and I was still a latchkey kid raised by other people's parents if they'd have me over for meals, you know?
Right.
So it's a different autonomy set, I guess, that I gained and having to fill in that time. And we were never allowed to say we were bored or we'd have to go move the wood pile or some other heinous thing. But I got really good at moving wood piles to where I feel confident stacking them now. So, yeah, it's just we choose our own form of slavery, what we're comfortable with, what we want to extract out of it. And when we need to launch, we really need to evaluate, why are we so comfortable being uncomfortable? And when should we be more uncomfortable and guide us to the next thing? So it's a toss up, you know? Everybody has a
Right.
different way of living. I just haven't chosen like the corporate world for me. I almost went through one of those pyramid corporate insurance scam things, and I realized they were just trying to feed numbers into the crowd instead of teaching us about actuarials and the actual stuff of doing the job. And I'm not that person. I'm not going to bug people if I can't put my full weight and force of, I have a great feeling about this. I have a great understanding about this. I'm not going to want to guide somebody wrong. So integrity was one of the first words I learned from a math teacher. Came from the Latin integris, meaning without wax. When you'd go and buy your pottery, if the potter had covered it with wax, he's hiding the flaws, the cracks. And so when you'd use your thumb and scratch the surface, if it was without wax, you knew it was a quality, genuine, a piece of integrity that they're sharing with you because of what they've formed. So I look for that in people. I look for that in things I want to be a part of.
Yeah. Hey, Jen, you're a good egg. Thanks for being here.
I'm glad you had me on. Good to see you
Good.
again.
How we doing for time, Paulie boy?
We're getting close. We're getting close, buddy. I know one thing that we always want to say here, guys, and I'll put on my mic because I bet you it's going to cut off as soon as we go to that, is please go like and subscribe and follow us wherever you can see and hear your podcasts. That's right, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch now. Please go like, subscribe, ring that little bell. Make sure to get this podcast whenever it drops, gets in your hopper, whatever you want to call it. That's it. That's what we're looking at.
Hey, I want to interject one more thing, and I end most podcasts this way. Keep your
Sure.
dreams wet, keep your humor dry, keep your kids at the military recruiting stations, and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. And that's about it for me.
I will just say never try to milk a bull.
Never try to milk a bull.
Never try to milk a bull. My dad had good advice on that, but I also think he didn't have the kegels for it.
The Kegels. And Jen, where can we keep up with everything Jen Eros?
Jen Eros is JENEROS 209 on Instagram. I don't post a lot of things. I like to recycle a few things that I'm interested in, but if you want to have a conversation with me, please do. Queen of Arts, KWEENUVARTS at Yahoo if you want to shoot me an email and hire me for something.
All right, and
Beautiful.
you guys know me. Everything, just like the lower third say, it's Paul Brumbaugh on all social media, as well as Edge Studios, wherever podcasts can be seen and heard. And we're here to help you. So if you have any questions, if you are trying to get your dream to become reality, feel free to reach out to us at Gmail. That's right, Edge Studios online at gmail.com. Thanks, Ziggy. I appreciate you, buddy.
My pleasure. Both of you, great podcast today.
Absolutely.
Great to see
And
you again,
until
man.
next week, guys, stay in the zone. All right, we'll see ya.
Bye.